All right, we're back here in the locker room, 10:51, in a power hour here in the locker room on Saturday. Of course, we'll be back with you tomorrow, the locker room with Billy Schweim from 10 a.m. to 12 noon. And I guess Brother Bobby Schweim will be with me tomorrow. We'll have a lot of fun. Hunter Brody will be behind the mic, behind the glass, I should say. Now let's welcome in Nick Costco from College Football Countdown to Kickoff. What's up, Nick?
What's going on, Billy? How
Hey,
are
man,
you?
we're just short. We gotta hit it hard today because we're gonna give way to you guys. But hey, man, I took Penn State last night.
Oh, you did.
And I took Air Force.
Air Force. I wouldn't have thought of that, but Penn State -6 on the road. That was almost easy money. I couldn't see Maryland keeping up what they were doing.
Because you know me, I like my teases where I can move the 7 points either way.
I know you do.
It's been working. Now, look, going into last week, I had the worst week in the world, but I rebounded real well. I did. I was 1-9 last week. I was horrible.
Worst week in the world?
Well, for betting.
Wait. 1-9 with college and NFL, or just college?
1-9 in college NFL.
So I'll tease it now. I'm 6-6 this year through 3 weeks of picking games.
That was just last week.
That was just last week.
That was just last week. That's what I'm saying. The worst weekend in the world.
Wow. So as you know, I do 4 games a week, and one of them has to be the Rutgers games. We lead into them every week. But I'm 6-6 on the season now. So I have a 3-1 first week. Then I was 1-3 the following week, and then we were solid 2-2 last week. So I'll tease the games I have today. I'm not going to give you my picks right now, but I got the Florida Atlantic Charlotte game, Virginia Notre Dame, Washington State Utah, and of course the Rutgers Michigan game. So I'll reveal my picks when we get to the end of my show in just a little less than an hour from now.
Now let's talk a little bit Temple, because I might actually take my daughter down to the Temple game today.
Okay.
See our old intern Lindsay Moppert. She's a cheerleader at Temple, and they're playing Georgia Tech. The Yellow Jackets coming up from Atlanta.
It's a big game.
It's a big game, and I actually might play that game too. Temple's giving Georgia Tech 8. What do you think? That's something you think you'd ever see?
I mean, Georgia Tech's not what they were, and they haven't.
Obviously, we had Paul Johnson on my show not too long ago.
Georgia Tech is not quite. The entire ACC is pretty much garbage. Can I say, aside from Clemson? So I would say Temple at home. Wait, did you say Temple's +8 at home today?
+8 at home, 8.5.
It's almost like Vegas is begging you to take that.
That's exactly right.
So usually when that happens, you take it, and then you play devil's advocate. You say, well, maybe I should stay away from that.
So here's what I'm going to do with this game, because I look for a good value. All right, I'm going to take Temple and Michigan State in a 2-team tease, because Michigan State's giving Indiana 14, so I reduce it 7. Right?
Michigan State at home today.
Yeah, Michigan State's at home. They should beat Indiana by at least.
And your team's now down to 7.
Yeah.
I would tell you.
That's going to be my play today.
I would take that. And Indiana's hit or miss sometimes. They can play some of the big boys close, but Michigan State at home, even in a down year, they can beat somebody by more than 2 scores. By the way, I know you were at Collinswood last night. We're keeping track of the game.
Oh my God!
Bad loss. I mean, not a bad loss, but a tough one in overtime. But I had to break out my high school shirt today. EHC broke the winless streak this year, so they won 7-6 last night over Oakcrest.
You would think. Listen, you would think, Nick. It was 1,000 games played for Collinswood High School. You would think that they would have some big, huge, like they knocked our. We had one of the big. So. We had one of the biggest stadiums in South Jersey.
I was hearing you.
And guess what? When I played football there, Nick, we filled it up.
Yeah.
All right, 5,000-6,000 strong.
I can say the same thing about EHT. The stands seat about 2,000 on the home side, and then
not every game, but I mean for the big games we filled it up.
I understand. But back when it was 10 years ago now, the turf field was the debut of the turf field for EHT. They were playing on the road the year they went to the state final. They played on the road the entire year except for the Thanksgiving game against Mainland. And that was the first game for those seniors on that turf. When they did that, the entire town came. There was 5,000 people there for EHT Mainland. It was back when it was the Thanksgiving game was the week before the championship game, so it was kind of not an irrelevant game, but it didn't really count towards anything aside from the overall record.
So how about this too, Josh? We were talking about how it's in the fabric of our community and its culture. Back in the day, Nick, when Collinswood won big games, the band would march down the street, go down Collins Avenue, and the kids, the whole town would follow the band, and they'd be playing our fight songs and our alma mater and all the songs that are associated with the school. It's gone.
I'll tell you, but
gone with the wind.
Particularly in the past 5 to 7 years, we're in the digital age. Times are changing. It's kind of sad when you look at it for high school football, at least in this area.
It is. All right. Hey, listen, stay tuned for College Football Countdown to kickoff with Nick Costco. You do a great job. I'm looking forward to that. I'll be listening to your picks, and, of course, if they don't work for me, I'll rip you. Tomorrow I'll be on the air from 10 a.m. to noon, the Locker Room Sunday edition. We'll recap the Eagles football game. We'll have our mystery guest. My brother Bobby will be in there. Thanks for making Saturday, the Locker Room part of your Saturday, because nothing could be finer than talking sports with the Schweiner. We'll see you tomorrow, same time, same bat station, 97.3 ESPN. All right, we're back here in the Locker Room, 10:38, moving right along. Power hour here in the Locker Room on 97.3 ESPN, getting ready for College Football Countdown to kick off with Nick Costco. And we'll just talk a little Eagles football now and get us a little recap and going on. You know, going into Thursday night game, Doug Peterson was 4-0. He is now 5-0 on Thursday nights, which is pretty cool. Pretty good to see. He's able to get his team prepared on a short week. A couple observations I made from the game was that our defensive secondary, and it's not a secret, but the defensive secondary, which had problems going into the game, is now really, really going to be hurting in the secondary because they lost Sidney Jones to a hamstring, and of course Avonte Maddox took a shot to the head. He's got a concussion, and looks like he's going to be out for a little while. But they couldn't. They had no answer for Davante Adams in the first quarter. He had 6 catches for 107 yards, and by the end of the first half, he had 8 catches for 158 yards. They couldn't stop him. The only thing that stopped the Packers was because he hurt his toe.
Well, it should be noted that he had success against Maddox and Darby. He did not have that success against Douglas. Remember, if you go back and watch the game, the Packers kept purposely keeping Adams away from Douglas' side of the field. Because whenever Douglas and Adams were one-on-one, he was slowing him down and not letting him get those catches. Whereas Jones kept getting beat off the double move. You had Maddox unable to keep up with the physicality.
Couldn't do it.
Yeah, they just couldn't do it.
You know, I got to tell you, Josh, and you know, how about that replay? When they threw the flag for the pass interference, and they still said it wasn't pass interference on Davante Adams. Sidney Jones on Adams. On Adams. That was blatant interference. I don't know how the referees missed that.
I was seeing this yesterday. I was shocked that they didn't let that interference stand, and that told me that this game was going to go in a weird direction already.
It was you
already had a feeling.
You're looking. Everybody in America that was watching that game said that was interference.
I mean, he whacked him in the face.
Yeah, he obstructed. In other words, he obstructed his view, and he was interfering with his ability to catch a football.
He hit him in the face.
Right. Well, that's what I mean. Right. All right. That's an observation. Another observation is what were the Packers thinking about when they had the ball? What were the Packers thinking about when they had the ball at the 1 yard line and threw the ball 4 times in a row? I mean, look, from an Eagles standpoint of view, I was happy about that. But all they had to do was gain 1 yard, and they couldn't gain 1 yard. I mean, it's ridiculous. The Eagles really dodged the bullet there.
They dodged the bullet on multiple occasions, and I think that if you're an Eagles fan of any sort, whether casual or diehard, you were watching that game Thursday wondering, is this really real what I'm watching?
I can't believe they threw the ball 4 times in a row. It's ridiculous. And another observation that I had from this game, the Philadelphia Eagles have a problem. They can't stop people on their first possession. All right? 3 of their 4 opponents have scored on their first possession. So they come down, they take the ball right down the field and score. So the Eagles right off the bat are playing from behind, playing catch-up.
I am convinced that Fletcher Cox is not healthy.
Well, he got hurt. He limped off the field.
He is still not healed from the surgery, the injury that he had. So we got John and Kate May, a loyal Eagles fan, on the phone right now, 609-573-3776.
What's up, John? Sure.
What's going on, John?
I mean, it looks like, obviously Doug Peterson has his script that he has that, obviously has the placard in front of him and he's constantly writing down. So I think a lot of those things are already scripted in there, and they're for Sid. I know I'm sorry. I misunderstood what you said. Defense. I don't know how much adjustments can you make when you can't cover. I mean, if you can't cover, you got. Yeah, but you can't blitz, John, because John, listen, you can't blitz because if you're blitzing, that means there's going to be people that are open. You're leaving those corners out on an island. You can't do it. They got to have help.
And that's something that Jim Schwartz has talked about in his press conference a couple weeks ago. He said, look, the problem with blitzing too much is that then you leave your corners on an island, and then you're asking your corner maybe to cover for an extra few seconds and maybe he's capable of. And I think the bigger problem for the Eagles is less about the pressure because they actually got pressure on Rodgers. There should have been 3 sacks that Rodgers slipped out of. The problem is that
but he's one of the best quarterbacks in extending plays, right?
But the point is that these quarterbacks are just not good enough. I think that's the bigger problem.
All right, thanks for the call. I just believe that the Eagles, now should they get Jalen Ramsey? I mean, he definitely could help them right away.
I think,
but you're going to have to give up. You're going to have to give up. Well, don't you think that they're on the phone talking to him?
I assume they've already made the call.
Right. But what would you be willing to give up for a Jalen Ramsey, knowing full well that your secondary is depleted?
Here's what I do. I call the Jaguars. Now, this is my opinion. I don't know better than Howie Rose. I'm not trying to claim anything like that. I call the Jaguars and I say, look, your dude said on Sirius XM radio that he doesn't want to be there. He doesn't respect you. He doesn't want to be there. So if I'm the Eagles, I call the Jaguars and lay that out for them. Look, your dude doesn't want to be there. So how about this? I'll give you a first-round pick. I'll give you Sidney Jones. Is there something else that you really want?
Well, they're going to probably maybe want a tight end. You have, let's face it.
But that's when you negotiate. I start the conversation with first round pick Sidney Jones, and then we expand from there and see what happens. Now, that conversation may have already happened for all we know. We know Howie Roseman is always looking to make a deal. He's like a stock trader. He can't avoid the transaction line.
And another observation that I want to make, the offensive line did really, really good job opening up some gigantic holes for the offense. Miles Sanders and Jordan Howard, had really good game. Both had really good games offensively running the ball. And I think this offensive line should stick with it. I mean, I think Doug Peterson and the offense should stick with running. It's obviously going to work. I mean, it's a no-brainer. Go with what works. All right. This is going to be a brief. Tomorrow we're on. We got a 2-hour show. We'll get into more of the Eagles and the NFL tomorrow from 10 a.m. to 12 on 97.3 ESPN. The Locker Room with Billy Schweim, Sundays, 10 a.m. to 12 noon. The second half hour of the Locker Room is brought to you by the Great Bay Country Club, where it's not just golf, it's fun. Make Great Bay Country Club your club. Great Bay is an award-winning private golf club where you are greeted by name. It's home of the 3-hour and 58-minute round. You can play on the 18-hole championship golf course, enjoy fine dining, or experience lively atmosphere in the pub. There's a full calendar of golf and social events throughout the season to appeal to everyone. For more information, go to greatbay.com or call them at 609-927-5071. Great Bay Country Club in Summers Point, New Jersey. See why it's always a great day at Great Bay. And just about everyone in our area has heard about the Jersey Man and Philly Man magazine that is run by ex-Philadelphia tight end Ken Dunnick. But were you aware of their private business network that they call the Legacy Club? Every month they hold private monthly events at upscale locations in Philadelphia and South Jersey that attract over 200 top business people. If you have interest in attending one of these events to see if it's a fit for your business, send them an email to ken@jerseymanmagazine.com or call them at 856-912-4007. That's 856-912-4007 for more information. All right, when we return, we'll cross it over with Nick Costco. You're listening to The Locker Room with Billy Schweim on 97.3 ESPN and the 97.3 ESPN. Room 1019, moving right along on a power hour, getting you ready for college football countdown to kickoff with Nick Costco. We'll do a little crossover with Nick, talk about my college picks. I rebounded a little bit, but we'll get to that when Nick shows up. I want to talk a little bit about the Phillies, man. And it's going to be short and sweet. It'll just be for this next block, just for the next 12 minutes. I want to get some of your thoughts, and if if you want to chime in, 609-403-0973. Just send us a text about what you think about this Phillies season, disgrace. Give us an adjective that describes what you think. 609-403-0973 to describe what you think about the Phillies season in a word or two. All right, 609-403-0973. Just a horrible commentary on Phillies last night. I took Penn State last night, Josh, and I took Air Force in a 2-team tease, and of course I won. All right, so I was going between those two games because I was interested in the Penn State game. They blew away Maryland, unbelievable. I think it was like 59-0. So I'm going around.
I'm well aware. I was at the other way. So.
Sorry about that, brother. You should have talked to me, man.
Well, first of all, before we get to the Phillies thing, I went on the air and I was convinced. And I'm not the only one. I thought Maryland, because after the first 3 weeks of the season, they have a good quarterback in Josh Jackson. You have Loxley, the former Alabama offensive coordinator there. They have been rolling. Even when they lost to Temple,
they lost to Temple, though.
Yeah, they look good.
Right.
To Temple, okay? It's not like they looked bad.
And then Temple loses to Buffalo.
They come home. Well, I actually picked Temple to lose to Buffalo.
Okay.
But there was not, because my opinion was that Temple, all their games were at home up to that point. And then they go on the road.
Okay.
But Maryland was coming home, sold out College Park. Friday night.
You thought they were going to be pumped up and juiced.
I thought there'd be some juice in the building.
No juice at all.
Jackson threw 2 interceptions, gets benched for a guy that I've even never heard of. And I immediately tweeted out last night, I'm like, I am off the Maryland train. I am done with Josh Jackson. Such an embarrassing loss last night.
And by halftime, I was pretty much going back and forth from Air Force and the Phillies, and that's what I was leading into. So I'm watching the Phillies.
What channel was the Air Force game on?
CBS Network.
Oh, okay, yeah, because I was flipping back between ESPN.
Because I like the academies. The offenses they run.
Yeah.
They're going to stay in every ball game. So when you see a big number for or against the academies,
right, you would go the other way.
You all go the other way but then I put the 7-point tees. I brought it down. I think I got Air Force at 12. It's 16, I think, or something. I forget what it was, but I brought it down. I got it in a tease. So I figured brought it closer. Because these games are always close with the academies, okay? Whether Army's playing like Notre Dame or Michigan,
right?
They keep it close because of the offense. They stay on the field. They don't turn the ball over.
I don't disagree. You know me. Every year, if I see Army at anybody, I go Army just because I know the game is going to be slowed down.
And that was my philosophy. So then I'm going back to the Phillies, and every time I switched back to the Phillies, I saw the crowd dwindle. It was like dwindle to the point where then I wasn't even aware of the fact that it was going extra innings.
Right.
And I kind of lost, and then I got up into bed after I did my some reading that I do in preparation for the show today. I see the game still on. And when I looked at the stands, there was nobody there, and it's a microcosm of their season. Aaron Nola, Aaron Nola, in 34 starts this season, he topped 200 innings for the second year in a row.
Right.
All right. But and he had a career high this year of strikeouts at 229, which is pretty good. After posting his 6.84 ERA through the first 5 starts, Nola settled down and pitched the 3.45 mark since April 25th, and he finished with a 3.87 ERA. Okay. But in his last 7 games, Nola pitched. His ERA was 5.27, and the Phillies were 0-7 in those 7 games. My point is that Aaron Nola is your ace, and he wasn't getting any run support. And when the season was kind of getting away, they were trying to get use him every 5 days. I think they got to watch because he pitched record amount of innings the year before, and now he posted his record amount of innings this year. I don't know. I think the Philadelphia Phillies, man, a very disappointing season. All right, they were 36 and they finished the road portion 36-45 on the road, so they were under 500 on the road. Just a bad season, man. It didn't turn out the way we wanted, and it's a shame. And then, like I said, I get into bed last night, and there had to be like 20 people in the stands.
Yeah,
it was horrible.
I think that one of the problems with this Phillies season was not even just the Phillies, the players. I mean, It was the fact of everything else. It was the front office mismanagement. It was the fans having maybe too much faith in the team. I'm not to blame the fans. The fans
I think the fans had a legitimate expectation for the simple reason that in the off season, everybody was pumped, Josh. Everybody, you, me, everybody was pumped at what Kapler did or what Clintack did in the offseason.
It's debatable how high or not high the Phillies fans should have been. Is my point. And look, I get it. People were excited, but you can't just jump off the train just because the team is playing bad. And I think that's what bothers me. I don't like the fact that you have an entire fan base that is totally just, ghosted on the franchise because it didn't go your way this year.
609-403-0973 is the text board. Send us a text. Give us an adjective describing the Phillies season. 609-403-0973. Shoot us a text about your feelings on the Phillies. I know Pete Thompson's Twitter question was who's going to go. I think, and I'll get into that after during the break. I'll text him. Actually, we're using my phone here on the Facebook Live. Go to my Facebook page, Billy Schweim, and we're streaming live on Facebook Live. 609-403-0973. Shoot us a text. Describe the Philly season in an adjective, one or two words.
Who
Describe.
Do you blame more? Do you
I blame Clintack. I blame Clintack. Clintack. I don't want to blame injuries because every team has had injuries. I mean, look at the Yankees. How do they continue to win?
Right.
How have they done it? Why do the Yankees win with all their injuries and we can't?
Well, some people might say it's depth, that they have a better farm system than we do.
Yeah,
Some
but you know what?
people-
Over the years, though, they depleted their farm system with all the trades they made.
But they rebuilt it back up.
They obviously did.
Remember when they traded Aroldis Chapman a few years ago? And they got him right back to next year? They got prospects in that deal.
Yeah.
That's the kind of deals that Cashman does. And I'm with you, Bill. I blame Clintack.
I blame Clintack.
I think Clintack should be fired. I think you need somebody totally else in here. I don't believe in this idea that he needs another year. I think he's been here long enough.
No, he's been here, what, 3 years?
5 years.
He's been here 5 years? He's got to go. I thought it was only 3.
This is technically his 5th season. 'Cause
This
remember,
is
he
his fifth
came
year.
in. He came in the off season of 2015. So, like Amaro's last year, they fire him. McPhail comes in. They brought in Clintack. All the hoopla. He's from the Orioles organization.
Wow,
By
he's
the way,
been here 5 years already, huh?
Yeah.
Well, it's too long. I mean, and you know why? Because they underachieved so much this year. It wasn't like they just missed out. I mean, they really fell apart down the stretch. Again, last year the same thing. Remember, their September last year was horrible.
Bill, you also can't go through a rebuild and have nothing to show for it. The whole thing was we're rebuilding. Well, what do you have to show for it?
So you and I are in agreement. Clintack should be the one that takes the bullet.
Mm-hmm.
I think Gabe Kapler's gone too. I think they're gonna. I think Middleton. I think Middleton wants to win. He wants to win now, and that's evident from how much work he put in even to get Bryce Harper last year.
Yeah, and I think Middleton. I think the signal to me that Middleton is not like other owners is when he told them to fire the hitting coach and hire Charlie Manuel for the rest of the season.
Right.
Because
he's
he was having a
himself.
conversation
Right.
with Manuel, and he said, you know what? This guy told me something I haven't heard yet. Let's put him on the job. I trust him more than I trust whoever this guy is on the bench. I think that tells you right there that Middleton is not just going to sit by and let this offseason be a bunch of...
And by the way, how do you feel about Charlie Manuel? What do you think? Was it just more of a front office type thing to do? Put Manuel down in the bench on the team, or do you think he was there to really help out the hitters? Because I think Bryce Harper, even though he always has a better second half than the first half, I think he benefited from having Charlie Manuel around.
I think it's a little of both. I think that it was partially putting a Band-Aid on a wound that needed to be actually sewed up. But I think also Charlie did help a little bit. I think he did help Harper, refocus. I did think he helped guys like Bermuda, a couple other guys.
He didn't do anything for Reese Hoskins. Reese Hoskins batted 185 since the All-Star break.
I feel like Hoskins is regressing, and that's concerning. And I don't know what the reason is.
Would you trade Hoskins for a big pitcher, pitching person, prospect, or not prospect, but a pitcher that's has a good resume?
If it's someone like a Robbie Ray, yes. If it's someone like a Matthew Boyd, no.
I would definitely, because pitching is a premium. You have to have pitching.
Because to me, I don't mind trading him for a pitcher. It's something that myself, Jeff Mosher, and Hunter Brody talked about a month and a half ago. It depends on the pitcher. Because I want something quality in return for Hoskins. I think he still has potential. I think
See, you guys talking about that a month and a half ago, I think that's a little bit premature because there was so much more. Now it's at the end of the season. Now it's time to talk about
Well,
it.
we were doing it then because of the fact there was another blown, pitching performance by Velasquez.
Right.
And you're sitting there, wallowing in your own misery. So, it's one of those things where, look, I think that the only guys who are untouchable right now are Nola, Romuto, Harper, and maybe I guess Segura. I think everybody else. I mean, maybe you say Kingery's untouchable, but I think most of this roster should be open to change.
And to have Nola, go 0-7, or the Phillies go 0-7 in his last 7 starts, and his ERA ballooning up in the last. I think they overused him. They should have just kept him on his regular schedule. This team isn't good enough, man. They got problems, and the only way you're going to get better is making a move. All right, the first hour of the locker room is sponsored by Barb. First, let's say it this way: the first half hour of the locker room is sponsored by Barb's Harley Davidson, Phillies, and New Jersey's #1 Harley Davidson dealership. Visit barbshd.com today. Barb has the area's largest selection of new and used Harleys around. That's Barb's Harley Davidson, where no one walks. Go to barbshd.com, and she's a Collingswood grad, and I'm sure she wouldn't be happy with the stand set up last night in Collingswood. It was a disgrace. And I want to let my friends know. I want to tell my friends about Maserati of the Main Line, located minutes from downtown Philadelphia. They offer a customer-focused car buying experience designed to exceed expectations and invite you to stop in and learn about their entire line of premium luxury vehicles, including the sporty Ghibli midsize sedan, class-defining all-new Levante, the only SUV worthy of being called a Maserati. Maserati of the Main Line is a national leader in Maserati-certified pre-owned sales, named top certified retailer in 2018. The experience does not end at the point of the sale, as Maserati of the Main Line offers free pickup and delivery for scheduled service appointments and provides new Maserati loaner cars. So add a little bit of flair to your next vehicle. Call Mike Pileggi at Maserati of the Main Line today at 484-804-4800. That's 804-4800, or visit them online at motml.com. And once again, say hello to Michael Pileggi. He's a good guy. He's been in the auto business for a long, long time. All right, when we return, we'll talk a little. Let's do a little bit of business with. Hey, Josh, I'm getting a little hungry.
Well, you would be hungry after the morning you've had. You've had a bit of a nutty morning, so I think.
What are we going to do for lunch today, Josh?
I think you should go to Red's Jersey Mets, the original Rojo's Tacos, located 11th and Haven in Ocean City. Tacos, burritos, quesadillas. Look, Bill, whatever you want, they make it fresh exactly when you order.
And they stuff it, Josh.
Just the way you want it, though.
They put. I've never seen a taco place put as much meat into a taco as they do.
Well, they do, because they make it fresh every single day. For takeout or delivery, give them a call at 609-399-2272. Hey, when you're watching that Penn State game this afternoon, you're sitting down for the NFL games tomorrow.
Penn State's not. They played last night.
I'm sorry, Temple plays
Temple.
Penn State plays. What day is it?
Today's,
what time is it?
Do you see what Thursday football does? It throws you all off.
Whatever you're going to watch this weekend, Reds Jersey Mets, 609-399-2272, 11th and Haven, Ocean City.
All right, when we return, we'll talk a little Eagles football. I got to do that. Get you prepared for, and then we'll get you prepared for college football countdown to kickoff with Nick Costco. You're listening to The Locker Room with Billy Schweim on 97.3 ESPN and the 97.3 ESPN mobile app. All right, good morning, everybody, and welcome into The Locker Room with Billy Schweim here on 97.3 ESPN. It's always fun to follow the PT Pete Thompson and get you ready set to go for the locker room here. A lot to talk about. A busy week in Philadelphia sports and sports in general. So much to talk about. So little time, but we'll try to squeeze it in. Of course, you got the locker room for an hour today. Then we got college football countdown to kick off with Nick Costco, and then we'll lead you right into Rutgers football, and then you'll have Sports Bash Saturday with Josh Henning after that. So we got a busy day in the studio here. Josh, what's going on, man?
I see you're sporting your
Yeah.
Tom Jackson and Sons shirt.
Yeah, man.
That's a sharp looking shirt.
That's a nice shirt. Tom Jackson and Sons. I'm sporting. We got. By the way, we're
That's
up
a
on.
quality T-shirt.
We're up on Facebook Live, so if you want to see the shirt, the Tom Jackson shirt I'm sporting here in the locker room.
That's a quality T-shirt.
Yeah, man, he's a quality guy, and they're quality electricians. Tom Jackson and Sons Electrical Services. You want to call them for all your if you need any type of electrical work done, you call Tom Jackson and Sons. As simple as that. Hey, Josh, man. So since the last time I was on the air, I have 2 football games to talk about, right? Because last Sunday the Eagles lost to Detroit, and then they had a short week to come back to play the Green Bay Packers on Thursday night. And I like Thursday night's cool, getting excited for it, but you know what? After Thursday night, it's a letdown because you don't have Eagles football on Sunday. And I know the guys are loving it because they have extra time to rest and heal for the following week. It's a little bit of a break, but for the sports fan, it's kind of like a little bit of a letdown. Matter of fact, I had to do all kind of yard work, chores in the yard, and cut the hedges and stuff. And I got stuff to do this weekend. I got a honeydew list a mile long because the Eagles aren't on.
I think the one thing that gets overlooked is that the only reason why the NFL has Thursday Night Football, and I was talking with a couple people about this week, people who cover the NFL, is that there's money. The networks are spending stupid money, as John Middleton would say, to have these games on Thursday night. They want another entity of money stream and content on the air. So realistically, there's no logistical reason why there should be Thursday Night Football. It's just all money.
Now, I this year I'm not teaching this year, so I have a little bit of free time during the week. But for people that work, people that have to be up at 6 a.m. and get their day started, I don't really think, like when I was the last 9-10 years, Thursday Night Football didn't appeal to me because I was in bed at halftime,
Right.
and chances are I was falling asleep. This Thursday night was a very exciting game. I mean, first of all, the Eagles were down 10-0.
It also ended extremely late.
And it ended extremely late. Remember, there were 2 injuries in that game. That guys got carted off off the field, so that made it for a longer game.
And I think the one thing that gets overlooked is that, as a general principle, the value of the primetime game starting when it does has nothing to do with you and me.
No, absolutely not.
It has to do with the fact that there are people in Central and Mountain and Pacific time zones that are watching the games too. But the problem is, Bill, when the Thursday night game involves 2 teams that are in the Eastern and Central time zones, let's be realistic, it is hard for the main fan base who is watching the game to actually stay up.
And look,
For example, I don't know about you, Bill, but you know what I did? As soon as that game was done, I can't tell you what happened in the post-game shows. You know why?
You fell asleep.
I passed out.
Yeah.
I passed out for 90 minutes, and I woke up, and I saw SportsCenter on, and I was like, I don't remember changing the channel.
Just like, look, I don't want to get away from football. I want to talk. I have several things that I want to talk about today.
You always have several things.
I want to get it in because by the way, we're going to have a crossover with Nick today.
Costco's coming in, yeah.
Is he coming in? We'll have a crossover with Nick today and get you ready for college football countdown, the kickoff with Nick Costco.
Costco's going to be tired of me by the end of today because he had to see me for 5 hours last night.
Well, that leads me into
for another hour and change today.
That's a good segue into what I want to talk about next because yesterday last night I went to the Collingswood High School football game against Stefford.
History last night.
History last night. There's 1,000th game.
Yep.
Okay.
110 years, I believe,
All
of
right.
Collingswood football.
And there's a book written, a hardback book, was written, I want to say about 20 years ago by Doug Frambies, who used to write for the Courier Post. He wrote a book it's called Hail Panthers, Here They Come. It's a hardback. And I'm in that. My family's in that because my father played for Skeets Irvine in 1938. My sister was a cheerleader and part of that great 1967 class that won every sport every sport won their respective championships that year. One of the only high school classes ever to do that.
Right.
Of course, it's a storied program with the Skeets Irvine Award, right? This Brooks Irvine Award, Irvine for Skeets Irvine.
And
so there's a lot of
overtime last
yeah,
night.
and there was a lot of tradition there. Well, Collingswood High School had one of the biggest stadiums in South Jersey. All right. And when we played my junior year, we won the Colonial Conference. And on Thanksgiving, we played against Sterling that year. We were not going into that game 9-0. We had beaten Delsey in the first round of the playoffs. And when we got to that game, Josh, those stands were full. Had to be like 6,000 people in attendance there. Last night, they knocked that stadium down over the last year. There was nowhere for me to sit. And when you did get into the stands, you couldn't even see the game. It's a disgrace to see a storied program like Collingswood High School reduced to that. It's like they don't even care about football. I mean, there was nothing. It was hard for me as a proud Collingswood football alumni to see that. It was tough.
If I could just say this, I think the key word that you just said is very apropos, which is they don't care.
They don't care.
And I think
football is not I don't think the way it was laid out last night, football is not a priority at that school. And that's a gosh darn shame.
And I think that's the important part that you brought up. I was having a conversation with Costco and I off the air last night, and I don't think Costco would mind me saying this, but him and I talked about the fact of the different schools in our area that have different sports versus don't.
Right.
For example, I went to a high school without a football team. Okay. My parents purposely sent me there because they were letting me keep playing football. They were going to die on the football field because the way I played.
Right.
That's a different story another day. We were talking about the fact that there are certain schools in this area that don't even have a football team. And those schools are lacking that communal aspect that football brings. If you've been watching the ESPN documentaries each week about the 150 years of college football,
right?
The one episode was about the culture and how football is more than just a sport. Football is something that brings people together.
Brings the community together,
Football
man.
is something that makes everybody want to be a part of something.
And that's what sports in general does. I mean, you look at this area when the Philadelphia Eagles, the Phillies, the Flyers, and the Sixers are doing well in their respective sports. It galvanizes the whole area, this whole region.
But if I could just isolate this, there's a reason why, and this is my perspective. And if people disagree, you can text in 609-403-0973. And Bill, you may or may not agree with this. I think football is the one sport that is different, though, because football is the one sport with the most participation. You have the most young men on the roster.
Okay.
You have more parents and more families in the stands. There's more people who have friends with people in class at the games. There is a larger group of people invested than baseball,
but it's also
than
football,
basketball, than soccer. And football has such a long history in this country. People forget, American football is one of the only sports that genuinely is American.
Is American.
Okay? And most of these other sports, I mean, for goodness sake, basketball is created by a Canadian. Let's be realistic.
Right.
Hockey's Canadian.
Hockey's Canadian.
Okay? Soccer is from Europe. All right? American football is inherent to the fabric of culture.
And I agree with you, Josh. And here's the thing. Football and the Collingswood game, the 1,000th game last night, that's tradition. And we get away, like, even in history, there are people trying to rewrite our history books. People are getting away from tradition. Tradition galvanizes people, brings them together. And like even last night, I talked to the band director. When I was in high school, we had 7 songs: "Hail Panthers, Here They Come," "The Blue and Gold Forever," and the band. We had 100 pieces in our band, I think, when I was in school, and they had all these songs that they played. Now, I don't know all the songs verbatim, I forget, but there's got to be someone out there from Collingswood High School that was in the band that can remember. The band director doesn't even have the music. They can't even play the songs. They play da-da-da-da-da-da. Hey, I mean, it's just like cookie cutter stuff. It's not specific to Collingswood. "Hail Panthers, Here They Come," "The Blue and Gold Forever." There was like 7 songs. And I went up to the leader, and I said, "Hey, Bill Schweim, class of 80, do you guys play that music anymore?" And he goes, "No, they can't even find it." So the tradition they've gotten away from the tradition.
I have trouble believing that someone can't find something.
I talked to the band director. And I said, "You guys play the Blue and Gold Forever and Hail Panthers, Here They Come," and all that stuff. There was like 7 songs fight songs that were like music that you recognize, but they changed the words to fit Collingswood High School, and they don't have them. I don't know. It just broke my heart last night to see that. I know there's a lot of alumni. I put a picture on Facebook, and I got a big response from alumni for the 1,000th game. It didn't seem to me to have that type of atmosphere surrounding it. And of course, Collingswood lost to Deptford. We played Deptford in the South Jersey Group 3 championship. We lost to Deptford 14-0 in 1978. All right, my junior year. And to see those two teams on the field last night was kind of cool. Brought back memories. But I was there. I took my 4-year-old daughter, Eliza Grace, was in the stands. There was a whiteout. All the kids were wearing white. So my wife dressed her in white. It was fun. But, just from the football standpoint, it was a little bit of a letdown, Josh. All right, the first hour of the locker room is sponsored by Barb's Harley Davidson, Philly and New Jersey's #1 Harley Davidson dealership. Visit barbshd.com. Barb has the area's largest selection of new and used Harleys around. That's Barb's Harley Davidson, where no one walks. Go to barbshd.com today. Go say hello to Barb for me. Say you heard her ad on the her sponsorship of the locker room on the radio. Hey, you looking for a bicycle? Buy a bike from Manarelli's Bicycles, located at 1014 Asbury Avenue in Ocean City, New Jersey. Owners Mark and Mike insist that after the sale, it's the service that counts. With a complete line of bike accessories and same-day repair service, that's Anarelli's Bicycles, 609-399-2238. You want to get your day started off the right way with the best breakfast at the Jersey Shore? Look no further than Uncle Bill's Pancake House. Family owned and operated since 1962, Uncle Bill's Pancake House is a Jersey Shore tradition with 8 locations from Ocean City to Cape May. Featuring over 30 types of pancakes, waffles, crepes. Uncle Bill's has something for everyone. Stop in one of their 2 Ocean City locations and try my favorite, the stuffed French toast with homemade cinnamon butter. There's something for everyone, from fresh cut fruit cup, gluten-free pancakes, or fluffy stuffed omelets that are excellent. You can't go wrong with anything on the menu. Go to Uncle Bill's Pancake House, 8 locations along the Jersey Shore, 2 in Ocean City, and I guarantee you'll get a great breakfast and fantastic service with a smile. And of course, today the Temple Owls are playing home at the Link against Georgia Tech, the Yellow Jackets, and of course our intern Lindsay Mopert is going to be down there cheering her heart out for Temple. So let's go Owls, and maybe we'll get down there to see Lindsay today. All right, when we return, we'll talk a little Philadelphia Eagles. We'll talk a little Philadelphia Phillies first, because I want to comment on that. You're listening to The Locker Room with Billy Schweim on 97.3 ESPN and the 97.3 ESPN mobile app.